My name is Manuel Matías, and I'm the creator of Weird Barrio / Por Mi Barrio that will be featured at La Casita.
It is great to finally talk to you.
Hi.
Hi. So, can you please tell us a little bit about the exhibition?
Okay, so the exhibition brings a lot of my childhood, a lot of nostalgic pieces, and then as I grow, the pieces kind of go along with my aging. So things that I remember from my childhood, and then things that I'm currently seeing now, like in Syracuse.
So, what was your childhood like? What exactly inspired you from your childhood that inspired you to create these pieces?
Okay, so one, it was always feeling out of place, right? So I was always categorized as kind of like the weird kid, right? So then, because I didn't play a lot of sports, so I wasn't as cooler as some of the other kids, I started to find solace in art. Mm-hmm. I started creating. I didn't need to be picked for a team. I didn't need to be one of the cool kids. I just needed a pen and paper, sometimes a wall. I grew up where graffiti and murals were really prevalent. They were everywhere. So that inspired a lot of my art in the beginning. So a lot of graffiti, characters, and that's how it formed kind of.
That's beautiful. How has your art evolved through time, though?
All right, so before it was painting, graffiti, markers, until right before 2019, I saw dioramas, and I saw that I could recreate the streets that I grew up seeing, not only on paper, but even beyond that, 3D, just all the way around, all four sides of a piece of art. And I was always fascinated with that as a kid. And so as an adult, I'm like, oh, let me try it. And I tried it, and I fell in love with it. And that's how my pieces have evolved throughout time.
Is that how you fell in love with the concept of doing miniatures, or
yes?
Yes.
Yes. When I was in school, there was this location called Tower Records, mm-hmm. and we used to leave school and go to this Tower Records. They sold CDs, magazines, drums, guitars, VCRs, everything, an array of electronics, and they sold video cameras, these big, like huge cameras, and they were posted in this like oval space, and you could use the camera to see in the center, which was a diorama of a train set. Oh. So when we went there, when everyone else was scattered throughout Tower Records, I would sit there and just look through the camera and see the train and the people. Just fascinated that somebody could create something looking so realistic in such a small scale, but yet really large. Yes. Was amazing to me. And then I never realized I could do it until I got older and just tried it.
No, of course. But can you tell us a little bit about what the process is like to create such spectacular miniature pieces?
Thank you.
Of course.
If I have an idea in my head, that's where it starts. Like, I want to see this created. How can I create it? So, for example, there's a piece in Weird Barrio that's a surveillance camera that I gutted and made a miniature landscape in the actual camera.
That is so cool.
Thank you. So it started in my head, and then eventually try to figure out what process I need to follow to complete whatever thoughts in my head.
Wow, so you can create art of absolutely anything.
I try. But I tell my daughters, one person's trash is another person's treasure. So we find things that, if we find trash that looks like something large in a larger scale, mm-hmm. then I'll use it. So for the most part, I don't worry myself with how to get it done. I just try to get it done however I can, So.
Okay. But you don't have any preference in material? There would be like plastic, glass, apparently old cameras that you scoop out.
Yes. No, I don't have a preference. You know, it's in my head, and then an idea could sit in my head for months. Mm-hmm. Like the camera idea, I had for about a year, and then I saw a store was selling them.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, let me buy one now, and just.
Yeah. Given the fact that you just told me that this idea usually gets stuck with you for a couple of months, how do you create so many pieces? Or what is your process? Do you take periods between pieces? Do you sometimes stop a piece and then continue with the other and then go back? Or
Yes. So a lot of my pieces. So being with my daughters all the time, sometimes I've had to take breaks. Like when they were younger, if I were to make mac and cheese, the time that I would spend in the kitchen, I would have art pieces on the fridge, so I would work on them. But if an idea comes and I don't have the materials, I would kind of pause, work on something else, then pause, then go back. And so I work with pieces. It varies, but some take months, some take weeks. I've had pieces that I've been working on the same piece for about a year and a half. And so yeah, that's I don't know if I answered your question, but yes, I would take breaks. If I'm spray painting one, I have to wait for it to dry.
Mm-hmm. So you continue another one.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any material that is specifically hard to utilize to create such a miniature sculpture?
I think clay.
Clay?
Clay in general, yeah, if I try to sculpt.
Wow, that is incredibly unexpected,
Yeah,
considering all of the materials that you use.
No, yeah, well, but they're easy to manipulate. You know, little wood, I can make it look stained. Paper, I can make it look dirty. Floors, I can make them. But clay, I'm such brusco. I'm rough. Mm-hmm. You know, I just, it's hard for me to have a gentle hand. So it takes me a lot longer. I do enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But if I'm sculpting, you know, a miniature Ronald McDonald, it takes me a couple tries.
So I can assume you don't have the whole clay ghost setup in your apartment.
No, I wish.
So apart from clay, have you found any other particular challenges with working with such small pieces or sculptures? I mean,
Electricity. Yeah, I have not perfected the ability to wire correctly different things. Like I would like to eventually add more lighting to my pieces. To solder, I don't know that technique as good as others, and I've had the time because of my kids and the smell. Mm-hmm. But I would like to start getting into more lighting-based pieces.
That sounds amazing. I'm so excited for you
Thank you.
when you start doing those pieces. Another question that I have about your sculptures in general is, how do you balance detail and simplicity in your miniatures to convey your intended emotion or message?
Well, a lot of the pieces are outside. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily need to balance anything because, well, I guess if it's outside, I always think of, if it's weathered, it doesn't need to be a specific way of being weathered because the outside elements are going to destroy concrete, break up walls, dirty a building. So the flaws in it are what I think make it more realistic.
Yeah, it's the perfect of the imperfect.
Yes. Like, Bob Ross, that little happy accident.
Okay, no, perfect. So tell us a little bit about the exhibit in itself. How did you come up with the name Weird Barrio? What does it mean to you?
Okay, so Weird Barrio, my moniker, right? Moniker is a weird society. And
Your Instagram handle.
Yes.
At Weird Society.
Weird Society _art.
Follow me.
Yeah. Thank you. But I think always being in a category as being really different and feeling ostracized because of it is my focus. You know, allowing people, so we shine a light on our differences and consider them gifts and blessings and kind of the unique diversity of the community is what brings this beauty together, you know. And I think allowing a safe space artistically is my goal. You know, I'm just a regular kid from the Lower East Side that loves art and has always felt out of place until I found art, you know.
Wow, that's very impressive. Have you observed any unique reactions from people when they first encounter your miniatures?
Yes. I guess the biggest one is when people stop to share their past experiences with my pieces in real life. You know, I got pieces that have telephone booths in them that are almost non-existent at this point. And people remember their experiences with, man, I remember having to call, needing quarters, and I remember being here, and I remember I have a piece that is where Chinatown and Little Italy and New York City meet. People remember that. You know, I remember being in New York in the 80s. You know, I remember, so it's that experience, allowing people to remember their experience with my pieces before they've ever even seen them. So that and besides that, and seeing, like, because I'm big on memory, seeing the reaction of children. You know, when they see my pieces. There's from older people that remember their past experiences with some of these pieces. There is a piece that has a telephone booth in it that are extinct at this point.
That's not true.
Almost extinct. You know where there's one located? I know where there's one located.
Not in Syracuse, but...
There's one in Liverpool.
Liverpool, New York?
Yeah, Syracuse.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one. I don't tell anybody because I'm trying to purchase it.
Well, you're telling the whole world right
sorry.
now.
No, but again, there is one, but I've seen people older than me express their memories and in detail what happened, having to save money to make a call or being in a telephone booth when it's raining. So I've had those experiences, which to me are amazing. And I've also had experiences with children, and that experience has been a big deal because first of all, they're amazed that they meet the artists, because a lot of artists, I guess, are not around. And but it's fun to see how their eyes light up if I take a piece and show them more detailed. Kids are just always amazed by it. I'm pretty sure it's because they want to use it maybe in their dollhouse or play with it, but still, that experience is pretty overwhelming.
I mean, if I could, I would definitely, I would have definitely used that in my dollhouse.
Yeah.
Do you think that the small scale of your sculptures changes the way people perceive the themes or emotions you're expressing?
I don't know.
Or what is the significance of the miniature aspect for you? What does it invoke in you?
So I think for me, it's bringing me back to the moment I saw them when I was younger. You know, seeing dioramas and how I was so amazed that people were able to create something that small. And then having the ability to do it myself. Because some of the pieces, I see them in my head and don't experience the joy of it completed until it's done. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get them, you know. So when they are done, there's this child in me that just is super grateful that I didn't quit mid-project.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, I love them. I love seeing bringing something to life through a miniature.
Amazing. They're so amazing.
Thank you.
What emotions or messages do you hope visitors will take away from your artwork?
Okay, so one is again, embracing our differences, and our uniqueness, and how dioramas are a form of art. I know maybe some may not consider it, but I do, and La Casita has embraced that to an extent where it's just overwhelming, and I feel super blessed. But I also want people to see that our neighborhoods have beauty in them. Step away from the outside and still look at it through the lens of art. I believe that's something really big. Seeing these buildings and something like John D. It is there, but it is a form of art, and it's something that we're going to remember. Also, like memory, like holding on to the memories that you've had experiencing these different locations, like somebody that has eaten in John D's, seeing it as a miniature. I just said something that those were that's a secret piece no one's seen yet.
That's okay. This is
so those two, just seeing the beauty of our neighborhood, seeing the beauty of our diversity, and accepting it as beauty, I guess.
Yeah, lovely. Are there any specific pieces in this exhibition that hold a specific significance for you, and if so, why?
Okay, so all of them have some sort of importance, they all mean something.
Yes, of course.
One of my favorite pieces right now is the La Casita. So I remade La Casita, the original La Casita that was in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I made that a miniature, but that one, not only does it mean a lot because it's beautiful, I think it's beautiful, but my daughters both worked on it.
Really?
Yeah, they did a mural on the house, and how I've seen them grow because of La Casita being in the program. How I said before, so mi barrio, right, I would say it in a different accent because of how I was raised, but La Casita has always accepted my differences, and I've never been made fun of, and my daughters are seeing that, right? So I'm seeing that they want to speak Spanish more, that they are more free to dance and to experience other people, and how accepting they are. So that house to me means a lot because of my daughters and how they've helped me in this process.
Do you work on pieces often with your daughters?
Yeah, most of my pieces, because they're street art, most of my pieces have some sort of touch they want to add. They want to draw on this or paint on that. And so, a lot of my pieces, actually, most of my pieces.
Okay. So, Manuel, what challenges did you face while preparing for this exhibition?
Good question. Well, working with La Casita has been super pleasant. They're making this process as painless as possible. I think one of the biggest hurdles that I have is having more ideas than time. I think that I said it best. We're never lacking for ideas. Yeah. It's just scaling back and working on one thing at a time. Sometimes I find it difficult to focus. That's why I like miniatures. I could hyper fixate on these little things. So just the amount of time, I wish I had more hours in a day. Giving time to everyone equally is a bit difficult, but I'm trying my best.
Of course, and we really do appreciate it here, speaking for La Casita.
Thank you.
What role do you believe that art plays in preserving and promoting Puerto Rican culture, since that is the main reason that you started doing these miniatures in the first place?
I think it's important for all our cultures to be preserved. There's a lot of stigma in different locations of culture, and and I myself really love my culture.
Of course.
You know, it's played a huge role in my life, you know, considering that I wanted to be like super Puerto Rican when I grew up, you know? And so it's a not the main focus, but it's a huge part of who I am. And that's why, another reason why La Casita is so important to me and this show means so much is because I'm seeing my daughters have that opportunity that I, without La Casita, I would not have been able to give them, you know. I'm not in communications with a lot of my families. A lot of them have passed. And
I'm sorry to hear.
So, no worries. Thank you. And that's why it means a lot, because preserving like what my dad taught me as a child, and since he passed, for those memories to continue. And you know, I hope I answered it correctly.
No, yeah, of course. And speaking of, well, everything you just talked about, what do you hope your art will, how do you think it will impact the local community, and especially the younger generations?
Well, my hope is that we continue to do what La Casita does, and is to celebrate our differences. You know, here there's not only Puerto Rican, but people from Guatemala, Cuba, and it's we enjoy our differences here in La Casita, and I hope that spills out to the community. So we not only that we don't argue about our differences and who pronounces something different or incorrect according to them, but we're like, oh, you say it like that, that's cool, I say it like this. Because that's what happens in La Casita. We embrace our differences, and the diversity is what helps us grow. Yeah. So that's my goal, that it like filters and we start to love each other.
I love that. So what does it mean to you that your work is being displayed in a cultural center?
Oh, it's huge. It's a huge deal. This is, you know, without, you know, being too like overly spiritual, like it's a answered prayer. You know, my culture means a lot to me, and I was not able to translate that to my children. Yeah. And La Casita has, and it's helped me out tremendously to see them growing, to see them becoming more proud of who they are as young women, and to have the opportunity to be a part of La Casita. I always was so blessed that they even accepted my daughters. So to be integrated and to feel a part of La Casita, especially through this show, means a lot to me. It's helped me out through a lot of trauma, you know, just being here and seeing the kids and yelling phrases like mofongo, and you know, it's I can continue to go on. It's more than I could express, you know. I'm so grateful for having this opportunity.
Thank you for sharing that with us. But let's talk about what your future plans are. Do you have any future plans, or where do you see yourself after September 20th? What are you gonna do?
You know, that's a good question. I've been trying to learn to stay where my feet are, you know, and for right now, just give everything to this program, you know, to this art show. Just give all of me as best I can, dividing my time with my daughters and my wife and having other businesses or another business. But you know, I haven't thought that far. I'm hoping that I can continue to do workshops with the kids. I've done some over the summer, and it's been really fulfilling. I did enjoy it, seeing them create and the stories behind their creations, because I did work with them this summer, and not only did they create beautiful pieces of art, but when you ask them what these pieces of art mean, they go into these really intricate stories that are like mind-blowing. And so I would like to continue to work within the community at some level.
Where do you see your art going in the next few years? Are there new themes or mediums you're eager to explore?
Yes, I am. I may want to tackle some more like fun topics. Well, they're all fun. Maybe, I don't know. I do, but they're like they're stats.
In the works.
Yeah. But there's some I'm thinking about. I'm gonna cut into high-end designer bags and create miniatures in these bags.
Oh, that's
Don't take my
really
idea.
You heard it first here, folks. Take his idea. So the last question that I have for you is, what advice would you give to other emerging artists who are trying to find their voice?
My advice would be to continue to create and finish each project and piece through to the end. Don't quit midway. I am here because I kept creating, and I created for myself. You know, I think if you create for yourself, the right people would appreciate your art, you know, and if someone doesn't like it, then they're just not the right people, you know, and maybe sometimes we need criticism, but continue to create and don't quit no matter what.
That is great. That is correct. Well, thank you so much, Manuel. We're very happy to have you here, and we hope the best for your upcoming show, September 20th at La Casita Cultural Center, 109 Otisco Street, where we will be featuring Manuel Matías in his exhibition, Weird Barrio por mi Barrio. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I love you.
And with those closing words, thank you for watching.
En el corazón de Syracuse, un lugar especial donde culturas se unen en un gran festival. La Casita Cultural, un hogar sin igual. Recibe a todos con amor, es un lugar celestial. En sus paredes